Hey, Red Knights! We are back with a new lesson in social studies. We're going to start talking about something called economics. Now, economics is a big word, but I have a feeling you already know a little bit about economics, even if you think you've not heard this word before. Economics is the study of how different types of resources and money are used to buy things. Let's get started in this lesson. So, there was a time before money, and what people used to get things were resources. They would trade things that they had for things that they didn't have. This was called bartering. Like we've learned in our previous lessons, there are three different types of resources. There are human resources, which are services that we can do to help or get something made or done. There are capital resources, which are items or objects that we use. And then there are natural resources, things that the earth gives us, like trees, wood, crops like corn, wheat, and water. That's like rain or lakes or the ocean. So, if you had any of these types of resources, you could trade those resources for things that you need. For example, let's say you had a bunch of wood, but no corn. Back in the day, you could barter or trade your wood for corn. Or let's say you were a doctor. You could trade your services as a doctor for a ton of wood. This was great, but then things got complicated because let's say you needed something like corn, but the person didn't need a doctor. This became complicated because sometimes you needed something, but you had nothing that the person wanted to trade. So let's say you had a bunch of tractors, but you needed to see a doctor. Well, let's say the doctor didn't need any tractors, he didn't have a farm. Well, then you wouldn't have anything to trade him. So instead of trading objects, we developed currency, which is money. This is what we now have. This is an agreed upon system that we use across the world that when you do a service, you earn money so that you can freely trade and purchase things that somebody else might have that you need. So, money comes in a couple different forms. We really have two types of forms that it all comes down to. We have tangible money, tangible meaning that you can hold it in your hands. And then there's invisible money, invisible meaning you can't see or pick it up. So, tangible money that we can hold in our hands and see the actual money would come in the form of cash dollars, like we see here, or coins. We can see that currency, we can see that money right in our hands. Some types of invisible money are becoming very popular. We started out with checkbooks where you could write out the amount of money that you needed, you'd hand it to the person, then they would go to the bank and cash the check to finally get the money. We also have credit cards where the credit card itself isn't the money, but when you swipe it, that invisible money gets transferred to people. There's now other types of invisible money that you can have on your phone, such as apps like Cash App or Venmo. And that is another way to transfer invisible money. Now, when I say that the money is invisible, it doesn't mean that the money comes out of nowhere. You still have to earn that money and have it sent to your account, whether it's a bank account or a savings account or even in a app. like we had just talked about, like Venmo, Cash App, or even PayPal. Invisible money has gotten so popular that there are things like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, which again is invisible money. And I can't even provide a picture to show you because it is just on the internet. There is no way to show you what it looks like because it's invisible money. It still has worth, it still has value. So we can use resources or money, whether it's tangible money that you can hold or invisible money, to buy things that we need or want. Let's take a look at a couple of things that we could do with money. There are three basic things that you can do with money. You can spend it, save it, or donate it. Let's take a closer look at each of these. Let's start with spend. So, to spend money means to use it to buy something now. Let's say you do a job or you trade something or you're gifted some money and you want to spend it. So, there are three different ways that you can spend your money. As a responsible person, the first way you would spend your money is by paying off any bills or debts that you owe. So, a bill or a debt is when you owe somebody money for something. For example, when you get older, you'll have to pay rent or buy groceries or pay utilities like water and electric. So, all of these things should be paid first before anything else. That way, you make sure you have the things that you need to survive, like water and food and shelter, like a home. After that, you can use some of your money to buy experiences like vacations or objects like video games or clothing. Now, spending your money is tons of fun, but you don't always want to spend all of the money that you have at once. That would not be a good idea. It would not be responsible to spend all of your money as soon as you have it. So we're going to take a look at the next part called save. To save your money means to keep it to use at a later time. Some kids like to put their saved up money in a piggy bank or into a bank account. When you save your money, you can save it so in case there's an emergency somewhere down the future that you might need to get that cash. Let's say you were going to school and all of a sudden your backpack ripped. If you don't have savings, you can't plan to get a new backpack when yours just up and breaks or rips. Or let's say your shoes suddenly wear out and they have a hole in the bottom. If you went ahead and spent all of your money on fun things and didn't save any, then you couldn't run out and buy those shoes when that happened. So you should have some money put to the side when things come up that you didn't expect. You also might want to have some money saved to the side if you're saving up to buy a bigger purchase. For example, let's say a new video game is going to come out and the video game is $45. Now, $45 is a lot of money to pay all up at once. So every time you get some money, you might want to put some of that money aside until you have enough to buy the game. And when you kids are older, and let's say when you're 16 and you get your driver's license, you're going to want to start putting money to the side and saving up for a car so that you can drive around and get to the places that you need to get to. And if you want a really nice car, you're going to have to save up even more money. So it's always good to be smart with your money and don't spend it all, but save some for a later time. After you have spent your money on bills and some other wants or needs, and then you have saved for a later time, the last piece is to donate. So, to donate your money means to use it to help others. Boys and girls, it is so important that we are not just thinking about ourselves, but we are thinking about others who are in need as well. You can donate money to different organizations that help people, or you can buy food or clothes to donate to people. Or if you don't have money to donate, you could even donate your services. For example, if your school is doing a cleanup around the city event, you could go and donate your time in your work to help do that. A responsible way to use your money would be to first pay your bills and debts, put a little money to the side in your savings, donate to others in need, and then buy the fun things like your wants. Now, to do that, you need to develop what's called a budget. To budget your money means to make a plan for how you will save, spend, and share it or donate. So, just like it says, a budget is a plan for your money. You want to make sure that you have a plan for that money and you're not just spending it willy nilly. So you have your money and you have to decide each month what amount of money is going where. For adults, we would have to make sure that we're paying for our groceries, our transportation, if we want to eat out, what money needs to be spent on the kids. And then we make sure that all of those separate things that we have to pay for does not go over the amount of money that we earn each month. So let's look at an example budget. Let's say that you get $10 every month. You could get that $10 from an allowance where you're doing chores, or maybe you do some work for your grandparents or something that gets you a couple bucks each month. So let's see how we can make a plan for that $10 so that it's not going to waste every month. So let's say that the first thing that you have to do is pay any bills, any debts, any money that you owe to somebody. And for this example, let's say that you owe $5 to your grandparents because they picked up something for you at the store and you told them that you would pay them back once you got some money. So you have to pay them back because that's a debt. You owe them that $5. Then let's say that you have $3 and you're going to use that $3 to put into your savings account. You want to not touch that $3. You want to save it for a later date because you're trying to buy a big purchase. Let's say that you want to buy a basketball and you're saving up money for that. Then let's say that your school is having a fundraiser and they're selling candy bars for $1. And when you give them that dollar, you're donating to a good cause. So you want to make sure that you're donating $1 to your school for their fundraiser. So we're currently at 5 plus 3 plus 1. That is $9 out of the $10 that you have. $5 is going to your bills, $3 is going into savings, and $1 is going to a donation. That means that you have $1 left over that you can use for fun things like your wants. You could even use this dollar to stop at the corner store and grab a snack. Now that we have made a plan for our $10 that we get for the month, we know where each of that money is going to. You know that you don't owe anybody money anymore because you paid your bills. You have that $3 in the savings. You donated $1 and you were able to spend $1 on something fun. Now, this $3 only looks like a small amount right now, But if you keep putting $3 in your savings each month, in 3 months, you're going to have $9. And in a year, you're going to have $36. Now, if you putting more money in your savings, more than $3, like obviously you're going to have more money by the end of a year. So, where can we keep this money where it's going to be safe? Well, we would put our money in the bank. A bank is a place that keeps your money safe. So remember, your money can be used to spend, pay bills, save, and donate. You have to remember that different things have different costs. Sometimes this is called the opportunity cost. The opportunity cost is what you must give in order to get something. So that's the amount of money or service that you have to give to get something back. A limited resource is one that can run out. So money can be a limited resource. So if a big bill comes up, sometimes people have to get what is called a loan. A loan is money that you borrow from the bank and it must be paid back. Not only must you give all of the money back that you borrow from a bank, but sometimes they add something called interest. And sometimes they'll add something called an interest to that money. So, however much money that they lend to you, they might add some more money onto that you have to pay back. And the opposite happens too. If you make a savings account and you put your money into the bank, sometimes the bank can pay you interest for keeping your money there. The last part of economics that we're going to talk about is entrepreneur. Now, that is a really big word, but it just means that an entrepreneur is someone who thinks of an idea and then takes action to make those ideas happen. This is usually a person who starts a business. So, all of you could be entrepreneurs. So, again, an entrepreneur is somebody who has a great idea and uses that idea to make things happen. In a few days, one of your assignments is going to be where you are an entrepreneur and you are going to create a restaurant. As the entrepreneur of a restaurant, your idea will be the restaurant and the foods and the different things that you're going to have in your restaurant. And the action would be to build that restaurant. All right, boys and girls, I hope you have enjoyed this lesson on economics, learning about resources and the money that we use to trade or buy things. Bye for now.